There we go. I woke up this morning. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. I woke up this morning. I looked at my stuff as I normally look at it. Oh, look at that! Because I've been going. I'm long on these things. I really believe the Polka Gold, and the DALGO, their meme coin. These things are going big. You can get into an asset like this, and you can buy a considerable amount of the total supply. And then when these things go to 10 million, when they go to 20 million, when they go to 50 million, 100 million, or even 1 million, like DALGO is, I think it's like $250,000 or something right now. It was like 180 yesterday. Those are big moves, guys. Those are big moves. So I have with me here Mr. Don Baruda, my brother from another mother.
How you doing?
Awesome, man. Good to see you.
Salutations to you and the Impact Money Show. Thank you for
having me. Man. I'll tell you what, I was really happy this morning waking up. I know a lot of our listeners or watchers were too, the ones that moved on this asset. I talk about it every day. I'm sure you were happy too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, we had a bit of a retracement, I would say, earlier the month. Well, you know how the markets go.
Yes.
But you know, with all this locked liquidity, you know, scooped up, I want to say within a day or two, right? So
every dip, and you know, the thing is, they're both such attractive assets. So just to break it down a little bit for everybody, I know I talk about it, so you probably know, but Polka Gold is started by Polkadot and Algorand Wells, and they just locked a bunch of Algorand in liquidity and launched on there, and everybody had to buy. But so it has a base. Algorand, I think we can all agree, has been across the bottom now. They are now going back there. I think at around 8 cents was their bottom. So at 16 cents, they've doubled from there. And if you can imagine, like Bitcoin has already tripled and quadrupled, right, from the bottom. So that's where we're looking at. All-time high for Algorand is 327. We're at like 13 cents or something like that right now. So there's a lot of room for that to go. And then they launched their DALGO meme coin in the same way, locking the liquidity. I looked last night. I mean, there was like, well, I've been saying they locked over 1% of the supply, and I know it's all not locked at this point, but you know, there's over 1.5 million Polka Gold there in the liquidity pools of DALGO, and there's only 10 million Polka Gold. So this thing is just set to run. The DALGO is especially just because it's such a low market cap. This is like, you know, you're going woo like this, you know what I mean? But both of them are just, it's like this feeding frenzy on both of them once it starts.
Well, that's the thing, you know, I in my opinion, it's like, I don't want to say there's a bit of a supply shock, but it kind of feels like that, you know?
Yes.
In regards to, you know, all the locked liquidity, to your point, you know, that 10%, that was just in DALGO. And it's, you know, around 1.5 million P gold. But to top it all off, I mean, you know, over 60% of just locked liquidity just for Polka Gold itself.
Yes.
You know? So it's like,
so talk about it. So there's over 60%. I think as I was looking last night, 67% is like locked type burned, or what's the difference kind of?
So burn. So we say burn, but it's actually locked. So if you look at Vestige, right, on vestige.fi, it states the difference. So most projects, when they say token burn, they burn like, you know, X amount of coins forever, right, to make it scarce. So this locked liquidity, or this locked portion of P gold, is locked away forever. So what does that mean, right, in these vaults specific to this asset? Is it is locked away forever, meaning whoever started this project, right, they can never go back in and retrace those funds. Never.
Right.
You know? So that's why we say burned, just to, I guess, you know, without going in further explanation for the masses, right? But the proper terminology is, it is locked. So if you look on Vestige, .fi, I don't know if you have it on there, but if you
I
look,
do. I can pull it up here. I was just actually scrolling through the Vestige. Let me share the screen here as we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's locked. That's locked away forever, right? That percentage. So in theory, right, as long as there is an algorithm, right, behind PokerGold, it will have value. The same is to be said about the USDC. The same is to be said about the Euro stable coin behind it as well. So
this is the daily. So if I bring this down to, let's say, the hourly, let's look at the hourly. I mean, let's look at this. So right now, market cap of 864,000. We're going to be back up, I know, above 1 million very shortly. But I think you wanted to talk about this locked liquidity. You can look here. So 864 market cap. We have 400,000, over 400,000 in liquidity locked in the PGOLD ALGO, and over nearly 300,000 in the DALGO PGOLD. So that right there is what, 700,000. So, and then you have, the different USDC, there's euros locked, there's, so basically you're looking at assets, both of them. DALGO actually has a higher liquidity lock than the market cap. It might have changed overnight, I'm not sure. But PGOLD, it has, the liquidity is as much as the market cap right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a bit, I would say, remarkable. That's why
remarkable. It's a better word.
It's DALGO. I mean, it's an anomaly in and of itself. It's the most liquid meme coin to date.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the most liquid meme coin. And actually, what was happening as well on over the you guys everything was trending, or PGOLD and DALGO. And
so the apart from trending, sorry to cut you off, Bruce, but apart from trending on Vestige and Tiny Man, actually the big trending is actually on Dex Screener. So
that's what I meant.
Yeah. So on Dex Screener,
actually, let me share that screen. Look at this. Just look right up top here. So this is Dex Screener.
Yeah.
And here we go, guys, right here. DALGO, PGOLD, and ALGO right here. 1, 2, 3.
DALGO's number one.
DALGO's number one.
Yeah.
To the moon.
To the moon. DALGO Nation, DALGO Nuts. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, how I never would have thought, DALGO would have outpaced PGOLD in this regard in terms of ranking. Yeah, I mean, just because it's so tiny. I mean, look at the market cap, Bruce. What do we say DALGO is at? 280?
It's like $250,000. 216 is what it's saying over here.
But the lock liquidity is more than the market.
Yes, the lock liquidity is more. It might not show it. So 280 in liquidity, 260
in PGOLD. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm confused myself. That's why I was like,
well, here's the thing. What I can tell you, what's going to happen is, as this thing goes into centralized exchanges, it's just going to go like this. It's like, and that's one of the reasons.
There's no other way, I want to say around it,
Right.
And it's like PGOLD, I've been watching this thing since it started back in November, and to see it, I want to say around, mid-November, when it was hovering around a penny and a half, and then to see it double, stay more or less, I want to say around the 3 cent mark for about a week, and then just shoot up. And obviously people buy and sell, but it's held steady.
People take profits.
Of course.
It's part of the deal. I can't tell you the number of guys. Oh, people are selling. Well, look, that's what you want, okay? People buy and sell.
For sure. But here's the thing, in my humble opinion, even with PGOLD, I don't mind that there's a redistribution of PGOLD.
Exactly.
It's a scarce asset, right? It's a scarce asset. And, touching upon our first interview, if you recall, I shared with you, when this project first came out, there was a big whale, right?
Yep.
And this guy had over, he had like 6 million PGOLD. We're talking about over,
like, holy smokes.
Yeah, he got in at like 0.000 whatever it was.
And it changed his life.
Yeah, he could have, but long story short, he was swing trading it, which I'm glad he was, right? And I'm not trying to throw jabs at anybody, Bruce. I'm just sharing with you my outlook.
Right.
He got priced out at the end of the day, right? Even at the prices that we're at today, which is, it's tiny, right? He got priced out, so that's why I say it's good in the sense of a redistribution. That's the beauty of PGOLD, because once again, there's no central entity. It's fair market. It's fair market value.
I mean, yeah, it's such a clever way, and it's I don't know if I might have told you, but back in the day, there was a point when Bitcoin was like $70 or $90 or something, and I had a lot of them, and I thought to myself, but there weren't really DEXs back then. But I thought to myself,
it was super difficult. You also had to be, sorry to cut you off, you had to be tech savvy, back then. Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing was, I thought to myself, well, let me just put a bunch of these Bitcoins. I think Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. So let me just put a bunch of these Bitcoins on the exchange. And then as the price goes up of the asset that I was working with, which was, mine that they built way back when, then everything will go up. But we didn't have this DEX structure. And I didn't want to stick my Bitcoins on a centralized exchange. Probably smart, because almost every centralized exchange that existed back then is gone. Yeah. So I would have lost my Bitcoins. So I was right. But that structure of locking the liquidity in there on an asset that's going to go to the moon is, this is a winning plan.
Yeah. It's, ingenious, right?
It is.
But I
and they stayed anonymous, which is like half the battle. It really is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like, the thing is, I don't know, there's so much beauty, I want to say, in simplicity, unfortunately or fortunately, like with everything, it's met with scrutiny. And, I'm the type of person, I accept that, right? I like open debate, Yeah. And I tell you, with this project, there is, I want to say, a little bit of hesitation, just because of the name per se. But it's like, if you read the white paper, if you take 2 minutes to read the white paper, it explains exactly the whole premise of the project. It's not trying to overshadow any, other chain or project out there.
Well, that's the white paper is always very hard to read for people. So one trick that I have for reading the white paper is I worked with the blind a lot over the years, and I don't know, really? you can go to accessibility on your phone, and you can turn on read to me, and you can set the speed. And so if you want to read something like a white paper that's like 50 pages long or something, then you just take your phone and you highlight it, and then it pops up and you say read, and it blah, 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 blah. So that's a trick. And that's how I read all the white papers. I don't read those darn things. I listen to them, and I listen to them really fast, and you're actually able to retain the information. It's really, really interesting. I saw my blind guys, and man, they're like pros at it. It's like, blah, 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 and I'm like,
and it's at like 2.0 speed, right?
Yeah, like 10.0 speed.
10. Oh wow. Yeah.
No, it's like fast. Yeah. So, but anyway, if you read the white paper, it's great. It's a great community as well.
Another thing too, I tell you, Bruce, another thing that's not really spoken about, obviously, and you've told, the community, it's built on Algorand. Yes. Algorand in and of itself, it's, zero downtime, instant finality, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't get any better than that. But another thing, that really is, I would say beyond amazing when it comes just to Algorand, PokerGold being built on Algorand, is, the founder, Silvio Macaulay, he was one of the founders back in 1985 of ZK Snarks. So, zero proof knowledge.
Yes. MIT grad. We're talking, this guy is a brain. And as I always say, not the usual cabal dudes that are behind everything else.
Yeah. You know, and it's like, what can I say? I mean, Algorand, you know, it's like they're doing an amazing job, right? Across the board, you know, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just everything clicks, you know. If you could read the writing on the wall, as they say, you know, everything clicks. And another thing too, you know, as you were touching upon earlier with Matt, you know, with everything going on in our economy, global economy, geopolitical, everything, you know, hard assets, most people don't own them. You know, the average, what is it, Bruce? The average American doesn't even have like $1,000 just in case they get into an emergency.
Well, and the thing is, you probably shouldn't have much money in the bank anyway, because it's a losing proposition. But you should have it in crypto.
Yeah, the FDIC is not really.
FDIC has literally. I was at a bankers convention, believe it or not, and they had 1.5% of all of the of what they were insuring. But then after they bailed everyone out like a year ago, or bailed out a number of banks, now they have less than that. They literally have 0.7% of all of the deposits that they are supposed to be insuring. 0.7.
Yeah.
Not even 1%.
Yeah, it's unfathomable. I mean, another thing people don't talk about, it's like, let's say tomorrow you want to go buy a car in cash. Let's say the car is like $8,000. You go to the bank, you tell them I want to withdraw $8,000 out of my bank account. They're going to ask you, why do you need this money? You know, what are you going to go do with it?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, people overlook this fact. I mean, so much of our lives, right, you know, for the good, I would say, you know, technology wise has, you know, been elevated, right? Except for the legacy systems in many regards.
Yep.
You know, so it's like, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, you know, not at this stage in humanity.
I know.
You know, it's just like, it's the great equalizer across the board, you know?
Well, and that's what we were talking about around the world, you know, for years. And that is that, you know, this is the wealth transfer. Okay. This is it. I mean, just the fact that you're able to own something.
Yeah.
Like literally, if like I own my house and I don't have a mortgage, but if I don't pay my taxes on the house, they take my house.
Yeah.
And the taxes are ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and they only go up here.
And they're only going to go up.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you really own at the end of the day? You know?
Like, exactly. I own my crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah. Well, that's why I say, you know, like touching upon, you know, our first meetup, you know, what do I value? What do most people value is freedom, you know? It's like, I mean, it doesn't get freer than that. Not that I know of.
It doesn't. And it's interesting now, of course, we have our friend, of course, Trump is, and you know, I don't care which aisle you fall on, really, but the point is that now that he has come out really in favor of crypto, he's kind of gotten it, you know, he understands it a bit more, I think. That has as well brought a lot more eyes to it. But you know, a lot of these people, they still haven't entered the market. They haven't entered the market yet. And guys, you know, like I say every morning, I like for you to have a good way in, and I like for you to have a good way out too. And so, if you haven't bought yet, if you haven't entered the market, Polka Gold is a good one. Not financial advice. These are highly special. These are highly what's the word I want to type in?
Volatile assets.
Yes, all this stuff. Yeah.
Not financial advice. As
yes.
always, your own research, but you know, touching upon what, you know, Bruce and Matt were talking about, you know, ever since, you know, fiat currency, we've been off the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, forget about the value of the dollar or the euro or whatever. if we're just going to use an example, let's look at the quality of life we all have collectively, right? And let's just compare that to our parents. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, right? Let's just compare it to our parents. Are we living a better life than our parents? Most of us are not. Right. You know, why is that? It touches upon very simple principles that, you know, most people make sound, you know, they make it sound like it's more out of your scope or difficult than it should be. But it boils down to this: the debasement of our currency, inflation. You know, so we have
central bankers, guys. The central bank is in control of our countries. And this is our way to fight back peacefully. We can fight back peacefully. There hasn't been a shot fired. This monetary revolution, I talk about it around the world, it has been going on for over a decade. It took the governments of the world 5 years to even figure out what was going on. I'm surprised that the banks have even been able to stay in business this long. I thought everything was going to crash way before, but that was even really before I realized how much of a crooked scam this was, because there's so many ways that the central bank can take your money. They can take it by diluting you. They can take it with the interest rates. They take it with the market making. The markets, they're the biggest market maker out there. When you see them crash the markets, a lot of the times that's just them removing the dollars that they printed up from the markets. They crash the markets, they buy it back, and they take all that money in between. And if you don't understand how that works, ask the traders if they have the money anymore. They'll tell you, no, I don't have it.
Well, that's like they say, you know, the smart traders, they make money, you know, when it goes up and when it goes down. To your point, you know, they're always making the money.
Right.
But at least with
this, and they see everything, the central bankers, and they have an endless supply of cash. So I'm sick of being ruled. I talk about it. I am sick of being ruled. And you know, it's
I'm with you. That's what I say, you know, to your point, you know, a way to peacefully resist, you know, all of this is, you know, to take this stance. You know, it's also to educate yourself. You know, it took me about, I don't want to exaggerate to you, it took me around 5 years to understand the concept of digital currency, decentralization, right? And, you know, I never looked back, and I'm not going to. You know, why would I? You know, it's like, you know, it's like I said the other day, it's either you get with this technology or you get left behind. History may not repeat itself, but it most definitely rhymes, you know?
Right.
And, you know, at least with this, it's sound money.
It's sound money.
Yeah.
It's sound money. And if you believe the rest of the, you know, and ALGO too, it was really great to see that move. I was in the chat. I told you guys, ALGO looks like it's about to go. And sure enough, you know, a 5% move, guys, if you're leverage trading, okay, even if you 2x, even if you just 2x, okay, and you do a 2x leverage, a 5% move is 10%. Okay, so just so everybody kind of, you know, understands that. I know that we're traded on CoinStore as well. CoinStore, CoinStore also has PGOLD. Doesn't have DALGO yet, but we're traded on there as well. And I know there's some talk about getting some leverage trading there. I think it would be a lot of fun. But the place with the most liquidity is the DEXs right now. That's where you really want to go to buy a decent amount. I mean, you just want to.
And another thing, you know, even with the DEX, specifically, you know, most people in the space, they use Tinyman, right? If you were on Tinyman, right, just to give everybody some context, they just airdropped, you know, if you were using their platform, their coin that just came out, Tiny. So if you were, you know, buying PGOLD or buying whatever on that platform, you would have got airdropped some Tiny. You know, and it just came out, and it was just listed, I believe, a day or two ago on MXC. So it's like, you know, Algorand is, you know, it's making big moves, you know.
It is. And I really, like I said, it's not the same cabal behind it. So it's an interesting play. Of course, my wife is Italian, So we were actually just over there. Her family, her father is still back and forth. It's like 6 months there, 6 months back. They have some.
Dude, that's living. Sorry to cut you off. 6 months there, 6 months here.
Yeah.
That's the good life.
It is the good life. I agree. She's always like, oh. I'm like, oh, whatever, dude. And they
this is a sign, Bruce.
I know. It is a sign. Well, we went. We spent a couple of weeks there. We had a European vacation this year. We went to Paris, and we went to see our family there. They're in Venice area. Yeah, it's great. But we're like, I can't believe that we haven't been doing this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like going to Vegas. I mean, it's an hour or two longer than going to Vegas. You know what I mean? You fly into to Venice or Milan. Milan's a little further away, but you just fly right into the Venice. And we have this huge family over there. My youngest daughter was hilarious. She goes, well, Dad, what are we doing? And I said, well, we're going to go see your 10 cousins in Italy. She's like she's a snip, dude. She's a bit. She looks at me. She says, I have 10 cousins in Italy and you never told me? And it was like, you know what? She's right. Like, we have this family over there, and never again. I mean, we're gonna go over there every year. It's important to stay.
Well, you know how it is. Everyone's busy with school, work, just sheer responsibilities. Sometimes, we all want to have that breath of fresh air. It's just sometimes, things come up. That's so things come up. We have plans, and then, whatever happens. I can't tell you how many trips I had, paid the tickets and everything, and then something came up and I had to just cancel.
I know.
So it's like, but it is a breath of fresh air.
It is. It's great. In Europe, I love Europe. I really do. I love Europe in general. So now pretty cool. So I think, one of the main things is we did have a nice move today, but you see us trending there with PokerGold and DALGO trending on Dex Tools. That's going to bring more people in. More people are going to see it.
On Dex. No, not Dex. It was Dex Screener.
You're right. Dex
Screener. Yeah, Dex Screener. That's that platform most people use when they look up coins, especially the new coins and the meme coins. So that's something to rave about. And it's so the market cap once again. I mean, it's $216,000.
With 250,000 in liquidity.
No, 280,000 in liquidity.
280,000 in liquidity.
But it's so, I mean, it's so small, but it has so much potential.
You're right. I'm going to share this tab again just so we see that.
It's
just right.
Yeah, like it's just crazy that it's number one. I can't believe it's above PGOLD, and on Dex Screener. I'm still.
Well, I have the Dex Screener pulled up too, but I just had this right here. Right here, 282. This is total value locked, and so they have, of course, that's the DALGO PGOLD pairing right there, and then the DALGO ALGO 6,700. So nearly 300,000.
Yeah,
locked.
Mind you, it's because that nice uptick we've had in PGOLD itself in the last 24 hours.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. The two are married.
Oh yeah, because
DALGO is the marketing branch.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. In the
PGOLD.
last 24 hours, it went up the market cap probably around $120,000, less than 24 hours. So it's a major jump. But what stands out to me is how it holds steady. There's not these major dips. When you look at other projects, right? I mean, it's just the charts, they align.
Yeah.
There's not this huge divergence. I mean, look at that. Like, it's slow and steady, and then
boom.
Yeah. So it's like you can't really ask for more, I would say, in terms of the chart pattern there.
Yeah.
But I want you to look real quick, since you're on the vestige or PGOLD. If you click on the vault right down there to the right. Yeah. So that's what, I want the audience, to take a good look at, just to understand. So when it says the total supply burned, that's what's locked, right? That over, that 60% right there.
68 total liquidity burned. Yep.
Yeah.
68.9%. Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just say 60 because I got so used to saying 60. I don't know, however months ago it was, but yeah, 68.9%. But if you look, Bruce, what I want you also to focus on is look how much PGOLD that is. That's 3 million PGOLD out of 10 million coins. We're talking about 30% of the coins. So like, just to give you a point of reference, Bruce, what I want the audience to understand is, like, for example, let's say PokerGold reaches a $10 million market cap, right? Just hypothetical. Right. That means,
that's not very hypothetical. That will happen.
I'm just, I just want to throw a number out there, an easy number for, for everyone to digest. But yeah. That means that total liquidity burned will be $3 million.
Yep.
Because of, right there.
Yeah.
So, okay, for fun, let's say, we reach $100 million market cap. That means that's $30 million. That's the new baseline, as they like to say. And, for fun, once again, $1 billion, that's $300 million. I mean, this is why I call it the honey badger, of cryptocurrency. It can't,
Yeah.
It's not
well, and to let everybody know, Don was the guy. Don was the guy. He was on during the show. You got to look at PGOLD. You got to look at PGOLD. Look at PokerGold.
Yeah.
And finally, I saw it. I at least 8 times.
Yeah.
Finally, I was like, okay, what is going on with PokerGold?
I know I was bothering you a lot, but I was like, you know what? I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that person, Bruce, because I know in the crypto space they're all out there. But I can't lie. I'm very passionate about this project just because honestly, it really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Just because of this, lock liquidity. I have not personally seen, anything else out there that had something like this. But another thing as time went on is, like I said, you look at the chart, like it holds steady.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable. So it's like, yeah, I'm in it. That's all I have to say.
Dude, you're not in it. You're like leading the way. You're like, I remember back in the day, I don't know if you knew, Charlie Lee was a friend of mine. Charlie Lee, the founder of Litecoin. But then he had his buddy there, who was also a friend of mine, John Kim. And everybody's like they were related, but they weren't really related, but whatever. John Kim was like, he was the ambassador. I mean, this guy, he went around, it was Litecoin. He like wrapped his car in Litecoin. He came here, we did like a skit in the national. Anyway, I shouldn't say exactly, but anyway, we did an ice skating skit and everything else. And it was a lot of fun. But you are that guy. Of PokerGold and DALGO, and I can tell you, man, he made a lot of money. Yeah.
No, I believe it. I tell you, honestly, with the PokerGold community, honestly, everyone, does their part. I mean, you're in the group, you see the Telegram. But, me, it's just like I said, it's just, I can't stop talking about it. All my friends, my family, I share with them the videos. I'm like, look, just look at this. I'm even studying. I got my professors looking at it. I sent our first video to a couple of my professors. They watched it all. I'm gonna tell you a quick funny story, Bruce. One of my professors was like, "How do you go on?" Look, Bruce. He was like this. He was like, "How do you go on an interview and you don't check your internet connection? What is wrong with you?" I was like, it was working fine until I got off. He's like, I was like, dude, don't remind me. I was like, I'm not trying to be a meme, but whatever. It's okay. I was like, Bruce is a great guy. He's a true.
It worked. Made
it happen.
I was glad that I had enough experience to just say, hey, switch, because it did after that. Of course, it was it was at the point. We actually were able to pull it off with Matt today. It was just okay. Like, you know what I mean? It was a little dicey with Matt. I don't know if you were watching earlier.
Well, sometimes I was on. But I tell you, I mean, it just went out like once. It wasn't bad. Mine was terrible because it was echoing. And I was like, after I watched it, I was like, oh man, this is bad. I was like,
yes.
I was like, well, Bruce and Eric know what I'm talking about with all my technical jargon. They know exactly what that means. I was like, but people are gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? But it's all good.
Well, it worked. It worked. And I'm glad you reached out and said, let's do it right now, because now is always good. Live is so authentic.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of live, and we can do some more stuff too. So, but we can talk about that. 4 p.m. is always a little rough for me too, though.
But no, we can go back on a live at another time. No big deal.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well,
very good, guys. We'll make sure to follow Don Baruda. He's at Don Baruda
at Twitter.
On X. He is. Oh, did I not say it right?
No. I mean, I get confused. It is X. You're right.
Oh, Twitter. Yeah, X. Yeah. I know. I still like Twitter.
Me too. That's why I'm like, it's hard to leave. And I'm from San Francisco, man. So Elon's gone, but I love Elon. But it's all good.
I know.
Office. It's all good though.
Yeah. So where are you now? Are you in San Francisco?
Yeah. I'm still in the Bay Area. But I'm just saying, their office.
Really?
They
I know. He left.
Yeah,
he left.
Honestly, I don't blame him though. With everything.
Oh, me either, man. Listen, I love California. I love visiting and everything else, but I call it California.
Keyword visiting.
Yes,
visiting is great. If my family and all wasn't rooted here, trust me, I'd be somewhere else. So I hear you. It's what are you gonna do, man? It's just terrible mismanagement. I have so many friends and colleagues that like moved here. They're like, what is, like, it's so beautiful, but what is going on? I'm like, poor management. They're like, why? I'm like, here's a term that I coined. I should probably have it copyrighted, but I'm gonna share it with you and the audience. Common sense is not that common.
Right.
That's the best way I can explain it.
It's bad. I used to go out there. I might have said it on the last one. I used to go out there all the time. I hit some clients out there during COVID, and it was just
a ghost town.
Oh, it was crazy, man. So everything's closed, except the pot shops and the strip clubs. Well, I mean, what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, hey, man. I would have steered you to the pot shops, to be honest with you. The strip clubs would probably not.
No, I mean, really though, it was crazy. It was like everything was closed. You couldn't even have a cup of coffee. You had to like go, and they even didn't let you have an outside seat at Starbucks. They had all the seats locked up. It was like some weird.
Oh no, they were just handing it to you outside of a window.
Yeah.
There was.
You had to sit on the curb.
Yeah.
Like a whatever. It was like, it was crazy. And then you go, my clients, of course, they knew all the spots. You could go eat at the strip club. You could do whatever. Everything that you couldn't do everywhere else. There was no COVID in the strip clubs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the pot shops were all open too. I mean,
what can we say? There's nepotism. They also enforce these, I forgot what they were called. You've seen the wooden places where in the middle of the street where people have to sit outside. So the restaurants, they had to build those.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, it was crazy.
It was just like a huge racket. I have a friend. Those things weren't cheap. He had to pay like $70,000, by the way, to build that thing. To be by like code. And then they came back after a year and a half. They're like, oh, you have to take it down. He was like, I'm not taking this down. You guys made me spend all this money to stay in business. I'm leaving.
Right.
So it's like, now we have like worse traffic because of it. Oh my God, dude.
Right, because everything's built out onto the streets and stuff.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's
best. It's California. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's why
people are like, we're just going to cut off California. I'm like, no, it's so nice. You can't cut off California.
And it's crazy. It's like what, the 7th or 8th biggest GDP in the world. Like it could sustain the rest of the nation. Forget about the world, just by itself.
I know.
We have everything, but it's just like, poor.
It's a mess. It is a mess. And then and the elections are a mess too. I mean, they have the drop boxes everywhere.
What elections? What elections?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the selection. Yeah. Well, the sad part is, I'll tell you what. I know that there's a lot of people who are excited to vote, but there's a lot of people who aren't excited to vote. Like,
well, so here's the thing. I have a lot of friends, who moved to this area a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And, not to speak politics or whatever, but they were like one train of thought, which is most people, right? On this side of the nation. But after living here for about a year, let me tell you, Bruce, the things start to change. They're like, hold on, none of this makes sense. Yeah. They're like, this doesn't add up. So it's true, but it's like, I don't know. I think here's the thing, like human nature, once again, until it starts to impact you, that's when you start feeling the burn, right?
Burn. Yeah.
And it's like, we're getting burned here, left and right, from every angle. It's a beautiful place. We have it all, there's an industry, but at the same time, it's like people are taxed out.
Oh man, talking about taxes.
Not taxed like money wise. I'm just saying across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, just taxed out in every regard.
Yeah.
So,
well, the way out of this, guys, is the peaceful monetary revolution. The monetary revolution, gold, Bitcoin, assets like Polka Gold, DALGO. There's no clawback. There's no freeze, right? There's none of that stuff. So Polka Gold is like a Bitcoin. DALGO, these things are built like Bitcoin. You own it. You own it. Get your keys, get your coins. You set up that Para wallet. You get your keys. Those are your coins.
Those are yours forever. You don't have to worry about some type of hack.
Yeah.
Some type of SIM swap issue or whatever. It's yours. Just don't passphrase.
Don't lose the passphrase. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about is this absolutely unbelievable staking rewards with the PGOLD right now. We're talking like 400% annual percentage rate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't touch upon that. So in Tiny Man, via Pair Wallet, let's say you have PGOLD, you can stake you can farm. So right now there's 3 different farms you can farm with PGOLD. The first one, you will be farming the tiny coin that I was just talking about. That Tiny Man they just released the other day. So that's the first coin you'll be farming with your PGOLD. The second one will be Algorand via the governance, right? So that you'll have the governance reward. And then the third will be the Polka Gold liquidity pool reward. So you'll be mining, not mining. You'll be farming just from PGOLD 3 different assets. So you'll get the coin.
So you need all 3 of those. So, and Don is kind of the expert here. You're kind of like the expert, right? Seems to me.
I wouldn't say expert.
Are you a farmer?
I'm a farmer, a staker, all that, both. There's also good rewards if you just want to stake on Cometa as well. If you just want to stake strictly just PGOLD, there's I believe right now it's about 37%.
Wow.
So on your
and you can stake as well your DALGO, right?
DALGO as well. Yeah. I forgot to mention DALGO on Cometa. It's about 14% right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are the 2 options. You have both of those options. Me personally, I'm conflicted between the farming and Cometa just because the farming, it's 3 different currencies.
Right.
No, from 1. So it's like pretty amazing. And then
Pretty
PokerGold,
amazing, right?
yeah, and then PokerGold itself, I mean, it's a scarce asset, So it's like can't get more than that. Is that
Yeah.
song?
This is the DALGO Nation. Remember, so DALGO, this is what I was saying kind of from the beginning. This is like the advertising branch of PokerGold. Okay. DALGO, as big as it's going to go, probably more than likely, PokerGold is always going to have a larger market cap. And that is why I get to be so, I'm one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on the assets is because of that. Let me just a little bit bigger. There we go. DALGO. Yeah, I don't want to play the sound because it'll take over our thing.
No.
But yeah, it's cool. Meme culture is cool. Meme culture is cool.
But here's the thing. This is a meme coin though, but it has underlying utility. Most meme coins, they are cool, don't get me wrong. They are cool. I'm all for the fun and the culture. But this one, it also packs, I want to say, a punch, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
We're talking about over 1 million PGOLD that's anchored to it.
And like I said, when I looked last night, I'm going to look again. It was 1.5 something.
Yeah. So if you open up on Vestige again.
I'm here on Vestige now.
Yeah. So it's next to the chat, you click on right next to it, the vault. It'll show it right there.
Okay. I'm just getting the DALGO. I did find it last night, but I don't want to move off my video I'm playing there. Anyway, it's over 1.5.
Yeah, over 1.5 million. But see, that's another thing too. I mean, about Vestige, it's like it's all right there. Big ethos is in crypto is don't trust, verify, and it's like there you go. But it's like that's why to your point, you always have to read up and do your own research, but it's like doesn't get more seamless than this, I would say.
Exactly. Read up, do your own research, all that good stuff. Make sure to watch the Impact Money Show.
Best
daily.
Show.
Don, you're the man. Thanks so much for coming on, brother.
I appreciate you, Bruce, and thank you for having this great decentralized platform. News and media. It's so it's keeping us going. Keep up the good fight,
brother.
You take care. Fun. Salutations to everybody.
Cheers, brother.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of